Out of all the sports I watch, one in particular draws the most questions: NASCAR. I get asked how I can sit down for up to 4 hours for 36 weeks every Sunday and just watch cars go fast. For a while, I couldn't really explain why I enjoyed this. And with all these new fans coming into the sport due to that amazing race in Atlanta, now seems as good a time as any to make a video explaining why an average NASCAR race can be so entertaining even when we don't have 3 wide finishes. I first want to start off by dismissing the myth that you need to grow up watching a sport to enjoy it. Despite being from Indianapolis, I wasn't really born into racing. All I knew was we watched the Indy 500 and rooted for whoever Menards was sponsoring. I didn't become a NASCAR fan until a friend of mine suggested I tune into a race during my freshman year in the 2021 season, and I've been a fan ever since. So no, I'm not a Kyle Larson bandwagon, believe it or not. I chose Kyle Larson because my favorite kind of car is a Camaro, 5 is my favorite number, and Young Money is an amazing nickname to have. So I just got extremely lucky, and my first year of NASCAR fandom was one where my favorite driver had one of the most dominant seasons we have ever seen. I suggest a similar route for any new fans. Pick a young driver and you might luck into something. So now that you have a favorite driver, how in the world are you going to watch a race without getting bored? Well, first you do need to try to like the sport. If you sit down and don't actually want to watch the race, you're not going to enjoy it. Obviously, you might catch yourself on your phone during a few dull laps. I mean, it's a long race. It happens to the best of us. But once you pay attention to the race, there is actually a lot going on. Obviously, you have wrecks and the restarts that follow. The wrecks produce a lot of drama and finger pointing, while the restarts bunch the field back up and tend to give drivers some pretty big opportunities to advance a few spots or even take the lead. It can also lead to another wreck, which means even more drama. But typically you only get around 8 cautions per race, so that isn't enough entertainment for a whole race, obviously. So what else is there? Well, you have some miscellaneous things like part failures, random debris finding its way onto the track like we saw with William Byron at Las Vegas. Or you have strategic decisions made by your driver and his team when track conditions change. Personally, I find the strategic part to be very entertaining in NASCAR. Drivers and their crews trying to find any little edge they can to win a race while managing their fuel and tires. Another obvious one is when your favorite driver is leading a race. It happens for some more than others, but either way, it's always fun to see your guy leading the pack. But still, none of this happens for an entire race. What in the world do we find so entertaining when it's just a regular 10 to 20 laps where seemingly nothing takes place? Well, it's kind of a simple answer. We just watch the cars. Personally, what I do is I find my favorite driver in the pack and just watch to see if he can make a move to gain a position. Or I look at the scoring pylon and see if he's making any good time on the other drivers. Either way, a move by someone is going to happen. Inevitably, one driver will try to pass another, and the beauty of racing will commence. If you're still asking how we enjoy watching NASCAR, I don't know what to tell you. To be honest, I'm more confused as to how you don't find it entertaining at this point. The only thing left would be understanding the lore of the sport and the storylines. Like knowing the joke of being nervous when Joey Logano is driving close to your favorite driver, or getting excited whenever they play Kyle Busch's radio after he's involved in a wreck. Knowing these little inside jokes and idiosyncrasies of the sport makes it much more enjoyable to watch. But you will never understand if you don't give NASCAR a chance. That's all it boils down to. The same with when people tell me they don't like hockey. You need to make an honest attempt to like the sport and understand it. I know I can't force people to like NASCAR, and it will always have its haters. But At the very least, if only a few people give NASCAR a try after this video, I'll be happy. As long as the sport thrives, that's really all I want. Maybe the reason I have a hard time quantifying what makes NASCAR so fun is because when I watch it, I don't just see cars going fast. It means more than that to me. So you can hate on NASCAR all you want. You can say all the cliches about it and all that kind of stuff, but it's not going to change how I and millions of other people feel about it. I know a lot of people kind of shy away from NASCAR because of the stereotypes and because of all the stuff that people say about it, but I think as a lot of people can tell you, a lot of the newer fans, the main thing that I've heard is that NASCAR fans are pretty welcoming. I mean, obviously you have some people that are a bit less than others just because they're that way, but I can speak for when I first started getting into the sport. People are very welcoming. A lot of people are very welcoming. They want you to watch the sport. They want you to become a fan because as we've seen the sport decline in popularity, we know that the only way for it to get back where it was in the 90s and 2000s is if more people watch. And the only way to get more people to watch is to welcome more people in and be inviting and, use that hospitality. I mean, most of the fan bases are either in the South, Southern hospitality, or they're in the Midwest, Midwestern hospitality. So the hotbeds for racing are all in very hospitable places. So we understand that hospitality is an important thing to have towards people. And I personally, I'm going to try to be as welcoming as I can to any new fans at all. If anyone's got any questions about the sport, ask me in the comments down below. I mean, again, I've only been a fan since 2021, so I don't know everything about everything, but I'm decently educated on it. I can give you a little bit of, some answers maybe. And if I don't, go to Twitter, go to Reddit, go to Instagram. Like, there are a lot of places where you can find answers for this stuff. You can Google it, you can interact with a lot of other fans. Just give the sport a chance. Watch other YouTubers, people who, make videos about different people. Like, you got Slap Shoes, you've got Black Flags Matter, you've got a lot of guys that make different content specifically on drivers or maybe different seasons and stuff. I know I personally have learned a lot from those guys, a lot about NASCAR's past and stuff like that. I've gone back and watched the full version of old races and stuff like that. So just learning that kind of stuff really gives you a higher level of appreciation for what's going on, because you kind of then understand how rare something is or what a crowning achievement is in the sport. So then you can really appreciate more what's going on. Just learning the sport, understanding it is a really big part of appreciating it and enjoying watching it. So that's all I'm going to say is just go out, educate yourself on it. If you really want to become a fan, I'm not going to gatekeep it. I'm not going to say, this is a true fan, this is not a true fan, whatever. I mean, as long as you're not bandwagoning from driver to driver, you're just as much of a fan as I am or anybody else. Now, the knowledge levels may vary, but as you get more and more into the sport, you'll know just as much as any average person, because, I mean, that's how it works. As you interact with people, as you watch stuff, as you read stuff, you learn more things about the sport, and that's a really important part. It's just keeping an open mind, being willing to learn from people, being willing to, watch the races and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's all it boils down to. Anyways, I'm Limitless Pulls. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next week.
But you get the mix right, nigga, put it in the blender. Hell yeah, I'm Wingstop. Bitch, I'm feeling chicken tender. It's like the beef with energy and water like Kimber. Ain't turning, looking like dinner. It's like I got the bag, boy or girl.